Imagine two children born on the exact same day. One grows up in the United States, the other grows up in Argentina. Both are intelligent, both work hard, both dream of becoming millionaires. Fast forward 40 years. One builds a company worth millions. The other struggles just to protect their savings from inflation. Same ambition, different outcome. Why? Is it because some people simply work harder? Or is there something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Here's a strange fact. The United States has over 24 million millionaires. China has more than 6 million. Japan has over 3 million. Switzerland, with a population smaller than London, has one of the highest millionaire rates in the world. Meanwhile, many countries with abundant natural resources produce surprisingly few millionaires. So what separates them? Education, culture, luck, taxes, politics, or is wealth actually engineered? Because becoming rich isn't only about what you do, it's also about where you do it. Today, we're uncovering why some countries create far more millionaires than others, and what that means for your own financial future. Level 1. Wealth is an ecosystem. Most people think millionaires are self-made, that they simply worked harder, took bigger risks, or made smarter investments. Those things matter, but they're only part of the story. Imagine trying to grow a tree. One seed is planted in rich, fertile soil, the other in dry desert sand. The seed isn't the problem. The environment is. Countries work the same way. They create ecosystems. Some ecosystems make building wealth easier. Others make it incredibly difficult. Think about Silicon Valley. Thousands of ambitious entrepreneurs, world-class universities, venture capital firms, highly skilled workers, major technology companies. One successful founder inspires hundreds more. Money attracts talent. Talent attracts innovation. Innovation creates more wealth. The cycle repeats itself. This is why places like California have produced companies including Apple, Google, Meta, and NVIDIA. Not because everyone there is a genius, but because the environment rewards innovation. Contrast that with countries where starting a business requires dozens of permits, where corruption is common, where electricity isn't reliable, or where investors fear losing everything because laws can suddenly change. The difference isn't intelligence, it's infrastructure. The first lesson is simple. Millionaires don't grow in isolation. They grow inside systems designed to help wealth multiply. But infrastructure alone doesn't explain everything. Because some countries have excellent infrastructure, yet still struggle to create extraordinary wealth. So what's missing? Level 2, the power of stable rules. Imagine you've saved for 10 years. You finally invest your money, then overnight, your government changes the rules, taxes double, your currency crashes, or your property is seized. Would you invest again? Probably not. Wealth requires confidence. Confidence comes from stability. Countries that consistently create millionaires usually share one important characteristic. People trust the rules. Not because governments are perfect, but because investors believe tomorrow will look reasonably similar to today. This encourages people to think long-term. They buy shares, they build factories, they launch businesses, they hire employees. Take Switzerland, it's famous for banking. But that's only part of the story. Its political stability, strong legal system, and reliable institutions have attracted investors for generations. Singapore followed a similar path. Just decades ago, it was a small trading port with few natural resources. Instead of relying on oil or minerals, it invested in good governance, efficient business regulations, world-class education, global trade. Today, it's one of the wealthiest countries on Earth. Meanwhile, countries facing constant political instability often experience capital flight. Businesses leave, investors leave, talented workers leave. Money follows confidence. Always. This explains why two countries with similar natural resources can produce completely different economic outcomes. Because wealth isn't only created, it must also be protected. But even stable countries aren't guaranteed success. There's another ingredient that's even more powerful: opportunity. Level 3. Opportunity creates millionaires. Not everyone becomes rich by inventing something revolutionary. Many become wealthy simply because opportunity exists. Think about America after World War II. A booming middle class, expanding suburbs, growing consumer demand, cheap access to credit, exploding stock markets. Millions of ordinary people started businesses, bought homes, invested in retirement accounts. The economy created opportunities almost everywhere. Opportunity compounds. One successful business creates suppliers. Suppliers hire workers. Workers earn higher wages. Those wages support restaurants, construction firms, technology companies. The entire economy expands. China offers another fascinating example. Beginning in the late 20th century, economic reforms transformed the country. Private businesses expanded rapidly. Manufacturing exploded. Exports reached every corner of the world. Millions escaped poverty. Thousands became millionaires. Some became billionaires. This wasn't random. It happened because economic opportunities multiplied. Compare that with economies where young people struggle to find jobs. Banks rarely lend to entrepreneurs, and starting a business feels almost impossible. Talent becomes trapped, dreams stay small. Ideas never reach the market. Countries don't create millionaires directly, they create opportunities. People turn those opportunities into wealth, but opportunity itself depends on something even deeper. Knowledge. Level 4. Education, skills, and financial culture. Imagine two graduates. Both earn similar salaries. One spends every pound they make. The other invests consistently for 30 years. Who becomes wealthy? Income matters, but financial behavior matters even more. Countries producing large numbers of millionaires often encourage long-term investing. In Australia, compulsory retirement savings have introduced millions of people to investing. In the United States, retirement accounts have made stock ownership common. Millions own shares without even thinking about it. Their money quietly compounds over decades. Now add entrepreneurship, countries with strong universities, research institutions, and technical education often produce highly skilled workers. Some launch companies. Others invent products. Many become highly paid professionals. Education isn't simply about degrees. It's about creating valuable skills. Israel provides an incredible example. Despite limited natural resources, it became one of the world's leading technology hubs. Military innovation, scientific research, and entrepreneurial culture combined to create thousands of successful startups. People often call it the startup nation. Knowledge became its natural resource, but financial culture extends beyond schools. Children who grow up hearing conversations about investing, business, saving, and ownership often develop completely different beliefs about money. They don't just work for income, they work toward assets. That's a massive psychological difference. Still, there's one final layer. Perhaps the biggest one of all. Level 5, the hidden network effect. Here's something most people never notice. Millionaires rarely become wealthy completely alone. They operate inside networks. Networks of investors, mentors, customers, business partners, skilled employees. Countries with thriving business ecosystems naturally create more of these connections. Think about London, New York, Singapore, Dubai, Silicon Valley. Ideas spread quickly. Capital moves quickly. Opportunities appear daily. Success becomes visible, and success inspires more success. Economists sometimes call this agglomeration. Businesses cluster together because everyone benefits from being close. A software engineer meets a founder. The founder meets an investor. The investor funds another startup. One introduction changes multiple lives. Meanwhile, in isolated economies, talented entrepreneurs often struggle to find experienced mentors, professional investors, or international customers. The network simply doesn't exist. This explains why people often move across borders. Not because they dislike their home countries, but because they're searching for stronger ecosystems. History proves this repeatedly. Immigrants have founded many of America's largest companies. They didn't suddenly become smarter after arriving. They entered an environment where ambition connected with opportunity. And here's the most surprising insight. In today's digital economy, your network isn't limited by geography anymore. Remote work, online education, global investing, digital businesses, artificial intelligence. The internet has reduced barriers that once seemed impossible. Location still matters, but it matters less than ever before. The countries creating tomorrow's millionaires may not simply be the richest today. They'll be the ones that attract talent, protect innovation, reward entrepreneurship, and embrace technological change. Conclusion. So, why do some countries create more millionaires than others? It isn't because their citizens are magically more intelligent, or because they work harder. It's because wealth grows inside powerful systems, stable governments, reliable laws, open markets, and strong education, access to capital, entrepreneurial culture, global networks. These forces quietly shape millions of financial decisions every single day. But here's the encouraging part. You don't have to be born in the perfect country to build wealth. History is filled with people who started with almost nothing. They learned valuable skills, built global businesses online, invested consistently, connected with international markets, and created opportunities that didn't exist where they were born. Your environment influences your future. It doesn't have to define it. The smartest investors don't only study companies, they study systems. The smartest entrepreneurs don't only chase ideas. They look for ecosystems where ideas can thrive, because wealth is rarely just about earning more. It's about placing yourself where opportunity can multiply. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. If you understand why countries create millionaires, you can start creating the conditions that make wealth more likely in your own life. Because sometimes changing your environment changes everything.